So now Team D, Irene Kim and Theodore Lim, will talk to us about Papa Haydn, the jokester. I have a joke. So why couldn't the string quartet find their father?
Because you're Haydn.
Yes. This is Haydn. Okay. So most of you, if you know Haydn at all, you would know him as a very famous composer, and he actually was a very famous composer, but more specifically, he was a very famous composer in the classical era. And starting from when he was like really little, he used to sing, and so his parents thought that he had a really nice and angelic voice, and so his parents were like, "Oh my God, Haydn, you have such good musical talent." And so they sent him off with his cousin, who was a choir master, to sing in his cousin's choir. And so before he even turned 6, like he wasn't even in middle school, he left his home. Like sadly, he never returned except for short visits, so he never lived with his parents again after he went with his cousin, and he lived with his cousin. And while he was living with his cousin, he learned how to play the piano and the harpsichord, which was like a piano, except it was where you like plucked the strings instead of played it, so it was kind of like an older version of a piano. And he also became famous and known as the father of the string quartet, and this was because he composed lots of pieces for the string quartet, and as well as like regular concertos and symphonies for the orchestra. And he also, during one of his journeys, he met Mozart, and he actually became really close friends with Mozart, and he actually taught Beethoven, and so he had Beethoven as his student. So a lot of people know Beethoven and Mozart and talk about them a lot, but what about Haydn? So the next time you think of Beethoven or Mozart, you should also think of Haydn. And so according to all this, you would think that Haydn was like a pretty studious, smart, and serious person all the time, right? But actually, not at all. Papa Haydn was more like a jokester, and the first reason why was because of the pigtail incident. So when he was little, he was really good at singing. He had a very angelic voice, but as soon as he turned 16, he grew up and his voice changed, and it became not so angelic. And so, as his choir master said, the choir master said that the boy doesn't sing, he crows. And so Haydn was really mad at this, and so during one of the rehearsals, there was like boys standing in front of him singing, and since Haydn was really mad that his voice didn't sound good anymore, he cut the pigtails off of the boy. And so he actually got kicked out of the choir, and basically his singing career ended there. And then the second reason why he was a jokester was because of the Surprise Symphony No. 94. The Surprise Symphony was, as its title states, made to surprise people, more specifically a group of ladies sitting in the front row of his concert, but they weren't just sitting there, they're actually sleeping. So I hope none of you are sleeping right now, but if you are, I hope this wakes you up. So as you can see from the short clip, the Surprise Symphony was composed by Haydn to surprise people and make sure that they weren't sleeping. And the third thing that made him a jokester was the Farewell Symphony, and actually this has an interesting backstory. It was basically where his patron, Prince Nicholas Esterhazy, made him and his musicians work overtime for like a really long time, for like several months without any vacation. So as like Thanksgiving break and winter break and summer break is coming up, like imagine if none of that was real. Like if you had to go to work and go to school every single day and you had no weekends, it'd be really tiring, right? So, but actually Haydn and his musicians had to experience this firsthand. They went over to the prince's castle in Hungary, and they had to play for him for several months. And so the musicians were really tired because they were just playing nonstop without any break. And so they were like leaving, they packed up their stuff, they were going out the door, and the prince was like, "Well, where are you guys going? You guys should like stay and play a whole nother symphony for me. You guys have only been here for like, several months." And so they were like, what? That's a really long time. I miss my family. And they were like, I want to go home. And so they told Papa Haydn this, and Papa Haydn, being such a good papa, composed this symphony called the Farewell Symphony. And so in the actual symphony, if you watch a video of it, you can see how the orchestra members actually leave one by one. And so they just get up in the middle and they just leave. And so it was basically Haydn's way of telling the prince and other people to not keep musicians for an extended amount of time without any breaks. And so this shows that Haydn was, yes, he was a jokester, but he was also very fond of his musicians and very caring person. Yeah. And I think this concludes my presentation. I hope you guys learned fun reasons about why Haydn was a jokester and a very interesting person. And farewell.